Part 20. Revelation tells us the truth about when things happened. In chapter 11, we just got done talking about the 1,260 days. Well, it's also going to talk about the 1,260 days here in chapter 12, at the end of it, which lets us know that the things at the beginning of chapter 12 are before the 1,260 days, which is also before the beast, because the beast that ascended up out of the bottomless pit overcame the two witnesses who prophesied for 1,260 days, which we know happened during the trumpets, because it was put in the trumpets. And then the last trumpet sounded in Revelation chapter 11, and now we're talking about Revelation chapter 12, but this goes back to tell us the whole story of Jesus Christ to the believers. It says, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And this is talking about Israel, who gave birth to Jesus Christ. Jacob was renamed Israel, and Jacob had 12 sons. Those are the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 fathers of the 12 tribes of Israel. Well, 11 of those sons were going to sell Joseph into Egypt. But Joseph had a dream, and he's told his parents, Jacob and his mother, he said that the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars were worshiping him. And Jacob said, "Should I and your mother and your brethren bow down and worship you?" Because Israel was the light of the world. They were the sun. The moon was under their feet. They were the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars. Here you've got all 12 of those stars on this crown. That's the 12 tribes of Israel. And Israel travailed in birth to bring forth Christ. So listen. "And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew a third part of the stars, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God, and to his throne." Israel was the light of that world. She was the sun. She was clothed with the sun was darkened. The moon was under her feet. Whenever she was destroyed, the blood ran down off Israel under the moon, and the moon turned to blood. Now whenever Jesus Christ was born, Herod went and killed all the babies under 2 years old, trying to kill Christ. This is the dragon standing before the woman and trying to devour Jesus as soon as he was born. But Herod didn't kill Jesus. Jesus made it through his ministry, and he was caught up to heaven and to the throne of God. The stars falling from heaven. This is the dragon drawing a third part of the stars of the angels and casting them to the earth. It wasn't actual comets or meteorites hitting the earth. It was Satan and a third of the angels. Stay tuned.